How old were you?
18. 18.
Me too. Me too. And when I graduated, until those few months when I left, I paid my parents rent. It wasn't much, but I paid them. You know, that's
It's well, see, I admired my family because they all were hardworking, but just great people, just like your family. They welcome you in your home, and any day of the week, come on in here.
Sure.
Hey, we got dinner cooking, have something to eat. That to me is what my foundation that I remember being. And also earning what you have. I remember my uncle working his butt off and moving all over the place. He worked as a supervisor for the Ohio Turnpike, so was my aunt.
right.
So they moved around a lot from terminal to terminal, but they always worked. My grandfather worked 48 and a half years for the railroad, for Chessie System. He wanted to work to 50, but he had a stroke, so he was forced to retire. I mean, this is what I've grown up to know, is you work for what you want, and it's what you do with your money. This is something that I learned from my aunt. If you get a check for $400 at the end of the week, and you take that $400 and you spend $400, but if you take it, set it aside, because you don't need that pair of shoes, you don't need that new outfit or whatever. I don't need the new Apple iWatch. You don't need this stuff. Invest it. Later on, when you want to retire, even she retired very early because she invested it. Now all the friends that went on all these vacations that are still working,
Right.
barely, I mean, they're covering bill to bill because they have this new Lexus in their driveway. My aunt's sitting in Florida right now, living in a house, playing golf every day.
Right.
She was taught, this is what you can do. But then you have a choice.
She wasn't taught that at school.
No, they don't teach that in school. They don't even teach home ec in school anymore. Remember home ec? You'd bake little dumb things in home ec?
Yeah.
They don't even teach that. What they should be teaching, finance. Finance. They don't teach the fundamentals of what your life is based off of, because someone doesn't know how to balance, don't even know what a balanced checkbook is.
I was in the financial business for 24 years, and I just refused to get into the little game that they would have where maybe a school would bring in a stockbroker or a financial guy and they'd have a short-term contest for 3 months, on, picking a stock portfolio. Well, the only way you could freaking win would be to take the most risk, and that's not the right thing to teach, but nothing about the basics of, just if you buy this $250,000 home and the interest is 4% and you take 30 years to pay it off, it's not a $250,000 home.
Or $500,000.
Right. That kind of stuff. What the real cost of things
Or budgeting. Even budgeting.
My mom taught me the budgeting, and it still works. It was old school. I don't budget anymore because I make more money than I have to worry about that. I don't balance my checkbook either, which sucks.
I do, but
my wife does. I don't. I'm like, I got money in there. I'm like, this was what I spent. But yeah. My mom did the envelope system, and when I had bills, each check, a little would go in there, and then what happened is some bullshit happened to my vehicle, and I'd be like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And here, when I was giving her $90 for the car payment, and the car payment was only $87, she was swiping that $3, and putting it in another little envelope, and all of a sudden I had money for a car repair that I didn't know I had. Just little things like that. But that
emergency
that kind of
accounts need to be taught. We call them
Absolutely.
maintenance accounts, because something's going to
Well, I don't have, I have a loan on my current vehicle, and that is it. I don't have any balance on any credit card. I did that mistake when I was young. I don't have that. If I don't have the money for it to pay cash for it, I just don't get it. It's just that's.
Well, here's my take on the credit cards, because I actually have a different one, and my aunt taught me this one. There's certain cards that give you cash back.
Yeah, no, I'm not against that.
So those are the cards that we use to buy a lot of stuff with, and then end of the month we just pay them off. So we're not paying an interest.
No, and I've been trying to find one for flying, for miles. And I thought I found one with Capital One, and as soon as they approved it and I went in to look, well, I don't want Aero Mexico. Okay, that was the only potential one. Like I'm not gonna use any of these fucked up airlines you have here. This is not the card for me. But yeah, I get. Yeah, that's
Just
not
because
a
there's
bad
duct
thing.
tape on the wings doesn't make it a bad airplane.
Look, our 50-year-old planes are new planes in Mexico. That's how that shit works. I've flown that shit. But going back a little bit though, back to the car. So my dad always seemed to be working on something. It never got finished, but he's always working on something, you know, sanding something down, you know, old school cars and 57 Chevys. I was probably, I don't know how I had some little bank account, and I bought a 57 Chevy that was sitting behind my grandmother's house, you know, at a neighbor's, and me and my dad that was going to be a project for us. But look, I sucked at cars. You know, I would go out and help my dad in the garage because I wanted to be with my dad. But I wanted to drive. Even to this day, I don't know fucking dick about that shit. You know, I don't change the oil, I don't do anything. I'm like a chick when it comes to a car, okay? But anyways, so we took that car, we never did anything with it. So I ended up selling it, taking the money, and I bought pigs and feed. I went to Genoa schools, and I was in FFA, and my uncle had a farm not too far from us, and I would go out there and I would scoop pig shit up and raise the pigs and took care of the pigs, and that's how I bought my car, is I sold the pigs at the fair. Now, you know, one little highlight of that, knowing that, you know, I had a little bit of financial smarts, is that if you wanted to have a championship hog, it usually would have to be around 220, 225 pounds, because when you walk it around the ring and show it off, you didn't want any the hams. You didn't want that flapping around, right? That's how was part of their scoring. Well, I didn't give a shit about that. I fattened those fucking pigs up. My smallest pig was like 265, and my biggest one was 290. But per pound, I only got a nickel less per pound than the championship hog when mine was sold. But 80 more pounds. I made a shitload more money. And I had 1974 Chevy Nova that my dad painted up for me. Some fucked up psychedelic color, weird.
Worked out for you though, didn't it?
6-cylinder, yeah. It worked out for a minute, but yeah, I worked for it, you know. And I think they actually had even offered to give me a vehicle, and my dumbass being stubborn, no, I can do it myself. That would never happen with a kid today. No, just give it to me.
They just say, no, wrong color. I want
Yeah, but
see,
that was it.
and that's what we're really trying to let people know. We are just normal, average, everyday guys that didn't have anything handed to them.
No, we didn't. But I don't want to think of myself as average.
I'm being nice.
You can play that role if you want.
I'm trying.
That's okay.
I've been doing pretty good. I haven't bombed once, and I thought,
yeah,
it's surprising.
No, I mean, I don't mean in a way that I think I'm better than other people, but you know, like I think we have something, and we both did radio before. For people who don't know, we did radio, terrestrial radio.
I was on a conservative talk show, and you did that, and
I did a 4-hour show in the morning, and so talk about, you know, that was rough. That was brutal for a while, but I loved it. I just loved having the outlet and the things, you know, the thing back at the time it was when it got wrote up in the paper, it was Toledo's best, least listened to radio.
I remember that.
Show.
That's right. Best, least listened
Because, like,
to.
how is it we have no ratings, but everywhere I go, somebody's telling me what I said that fucking day.
Exactly.
How did we get screwed in that? Like, that was bullshit, but...
So you mean there was actually politics involved back then?
Yeah, something like that.
That's no shit.
That is. But I love doing it, and I've missed it. People have talked to me about doing a podcast, and that's why when, you know...
Well, I ran into you,
Yeah,
I mean, after all these years, and it's just like, boom, guess what? I know we can do this. And because I've been thinking about it, I'm really restricted on time. I know you're restricted on time.
Oh, I've got no time for this.
But it's just something I'm like, yeah, it's got to be.
But
you just
make it happen.
There, you just said it. You make it happen.
It just is.
Because how many, getting right back to it, nobody's gonna hand this. Nobody said, okay, I'm gonna set this up, you go. We had to get a producer, we had to get you and I on the same page on a day and a time, because we started with the days. Nope, I can't do this day because of this. You can't do this day because of that. The producer couldn't do this day because of this.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it just all came together. And I'm hoping we get our word out to people and just let them know.
It's the shows that I like where I'm hearing like, yeah, that's what I was thinking, kind of thing. And that's what I think the people that are going to join the show, subscribe to it, follow the show, that's what they're like, yeah, that's what I think.
See, those guys are saying what I've been thinking.
What I've been thinking. And that's it.
And it is about
we're not billionaires, but we know a little bit something about being successful. You know, I mean, that too.
Something else about me that I think is kind of funny that we're talking about, because it's me. I'm sitting okay, you know, but no, again, I have worked many hours, many days. I've missed so many family occasions to work, to make sure the businesses were running properly. Regrets, yes, you'll always have regrets in that, but
You learn.
there is a payoff sooner or later. And that's kind of where I'm getting to now. And I have two of my children working with me, which I'm going to tell you is, in my opinion, is awesome. I have my daughter, I have my son. They both love cooking. They're cooking in the kitchen with me in the restaurant. And it's kind of cool going to work with your kids and watching them.
Sure.
There's a part of me that wants to scream at them, get out, don't do this.